Jesus said to make disciples of all nations. What is the best size for a church to be to most effectively make disciples? Is it better to have one church with 1,000 people in it, or 10 churches each with 100 people? It's easy to assume that bigger is better. But did you know that everything in the New Testament that was written to a church was written to a church that met in someone's home? It is a fact that the early church met almost exclusively in the private homes of its members. You see, the first church buildings did not exist until about 200 years after the New Testament was written. What this means is that the typical New Testament congregation was smaller rather than larger. Not thousands of people, not hundreds of people, but scores of believers in a single congregation. The activities described in the New Testament, such as disciple making, were designed for smaller settings. They work better in smaller settings. So when it comes to making disciples and other important things like oneness, multiplication, walking together in love, true fellowship, community, we argue that the design principle, form follows function, comes into play here. The function of a New Testament church is best carried out by the form of the New Testament church. Therefore, our premise is that smaller churches have strategic, divinely designed size advantages. Good things really do come in small packages. So in this session, we will consider small size as an ancient church strategy for effective ministry. The question arises, why did the early church meet in homes? And the most common answer given is persecution, much as the situation that exists today in Iran or China. So if you want to hide yourself, not be, call it public attention to what you're doing, a home is a good place to do that. The ESV Study Bible says that early Christian churches, since they were small and not regarded as a legitimate or legal religion, met in homes. But I want you to consider that no matter why they met in homes, the fact remains that every New Testament letter written to a church was written to a church that met in someone's home. John Adams said that facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. The fact is, every New Testament letter written to a church was written to a church that met in someone's home. The activities described in the New Testament were designed for smaller settings. So we're going to argue that smaller churches are a divine design for effective ministry.